I want to thank you guys for tuning in to yet another episode of FDL Presents the Zach Russell podcast. And today we went across the pond for our interview, and I had the pleasure of interviewing somebody by the name of Lauren Tickner. You guys might know her very, very well. She is 21 years old. She has the Business Meets Fitness podcast. She is an author. She's a big-time social media influencer out of the UK, and she is just a wealth of knowledge at the young age of 21. And in this podcast, we talked about why Lauren left one of the best universities in the UK that it took her so long to get into. It was such an honor. Why did she leave that university and go and start doing it on her own? Why did she start her own business? And how did she go about building something now that is very successful and allows her to live out her dreams on a daily basis? So what we talked about on this podcast a lot is, okay, if you're a young entrepreneur, how do you get started? How do you build something to where when you're 21 years old, you have something special that can fuel the rest of your life? And how do you not go to college and use all that money and go into a lot of debt? And that kind of sets you back as well. So in this podcast, we talk about a lot of things about getting started and building something that is truly yours. But before we begin, I want to thank you guys for leaving so many 5-star reviews. It helps so much. You guys are killing it. I can't thank you guys enough. So if you have yet to, please leave a 5-star review. It helps us grow, and we're ranking higher in iTunes, and it means the world. So I just want to thank each and every one of you guys. You guys put a huge smile on my face every time I go in there and read them. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment below. Let me know who we should interview next, because when you guys let us know, we make it happen. Lastly, before we begin, I want to thank our sponsors, One Bar's, Enlightened, and Protein Cookie Company. Let's get into the interview. Welcome to yet another episode of FDL Presents the Zach Russell podcast. And I have a friend that's not even in the United States right now on the podcast. She's got a really cool accent. I'm not going to let her talk just yet. I got to talk a little bit longer, but you guys are going to be like, whoa, Zach, if you had that accent, you'd probably have 1 million followers on Instagram. I know, guys. I know. But I am lucky to have Lauren Tickner on the podcast today. Thank you for coming on, Lauren.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I am British. I live in London, but I love the American accent, so I'm very honored that you have complimented mine so incredibly kindly. But the one thing that we don't have that you guys have is amazing food.
That's very true. Whenever I saw you in, what was LA? We went to the grocery store, and you and Jade were like blown away by all the food that we have. So, I mean,
it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. But no, I'm honored to be on the show today. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So I met, I've known Lauren for, how long have I mean, it's been years now.
Well, it started off in the Insta DMs, that's how this friendship begun. And then it just blossomed ever since then over a love of food, I think.
Very true. Yeah. So I cooked for Lauren in LA back in, I can't even remember.
November.
It was November. Yeah. So we did a nice little meal. It was fun. It was fun hanging out. And I wanted to have Lauren on today because she's super smart. She's young, but she's got it together, and she's understanding that life is about value. And if you provide more value, the world kind of tends to work out for you. And you tend to build a tribe of people that appreciate you, and they love you to death, and they want to continue to support you because you support them. And that is something that I admire so much, because I believe everybody should have their tribe. Everybody should be focusing on providing value to them, and thus you will have a family of people that want to see you win. So I'd like to start the podcast with kind of giving everybody a feel of what your intentions are with what you do. So if I were to be on the Explore page on Instagram and I happen to click on your profile, we don't have business cards anymore, but we usually just tell people to go check out our Instagram. And
true story.
It's so true. Like, that's what I got asked this past weekend, like a bunch of times. Hey, do you have a business card? I'm like, no, I got an Instagram. And then we just pull up their phone. So
I have business cards right here.
Oh, what a loser.
I bought them, and you know how many times I've handed out these business cards?
0.
One time.
Of course.
There's like 500 of them.
Yeah.
Hey.
Worthless. But if they were to come to your Instagram page, not your freaking business card,
Yeah.
what if I seen the first 9 posts, why would I follow Lauren Tickner?
Oh, why would you follow Lauren Tickner? Well, you would follow Lauren Tickner because she likes to post all sorts of inspiration, whether it's fitness, business, lifestyle. I like to talk a lot. I'll switch out the third person now. It's getting a bit confusing. So, yeah, I like to speak a lot about mindset because I think mindset is a huge, huge, huge thing. No matter whether it's in your fitness journey or in your kind of world of building your own tribe, building your own business, whatever it is, I think mindset probably is the biggest thing and the biggest obstacle that a lot of people face. Mental health, kind of like thinking about the whole balanced lifestyle and all that. I used to post primarily fitness content, but now, ever since I've been building my own tribe and getting more into the whole business type stuff, that's when I switched over from just posting fitness content and focusing a lot more on mindset and all that. So that's me really.
Well, that's good. Mindset is everything, guys. Like if we are not seeing the world in the right way, then we miss or misinterpret things that we actually see. So I just finished up a podcast interviewing Russ. So Russ Swole,
Oh yeah.
and we talked about like good vibes and like the idea that if we're not in a good frame of mind, we're not smiling more, we're not doing all these different things, we might miss opportunities or misinterpret things that are actually very positive in our lives. So that's the biggest thing is we see everything as a learning experience rather than
Yes. I literally just made a post on LinkedIn that said you never lose, you learn. Because I think that is such, like, there's just so much truth in that. Because I'm sorry, I just totally interrupted you there, but
no, you're good. Go for it. Interrupt me. This is about you.
Oh, stop it. But look, I think so many times people are afraid to even try to do something because they're so worried that they're going to mess up or they're going to fail. But if you fail, look, you can learn from that. You can learn from your mistakes and you know for next time what not to do. And I think seriously, that's one of the biggest things in life is like literally just take everything as it comes and just go for it. Because if you just go for it, there is only, sure, you might mess up. You might lose a few followers on Instagram. You might make a bit of a bad mistake in your business, but you know what, a year from now you will be so glad that you did that thing because you've learned from it and you can just develop from that. So I just think that is probably one of the biggest things that if anyone's listening to this right now, just take that away from this podcast.
Well, let's hope anybody's listening to this right now.
Well, yeah. It would be nice.
I'm just recording this for fun. No big deal. But I mean,
talking to me is fun.
Yeah, I know. Gosh, that's what I live for. But that is a very, 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 very valid point. It's something that it changes everything. So if I take one step one way or one step the other way, did I learn from each step? Was that the right step? Was that the wrong step? It doesn't really matter because the next time you'll probably take the right step because you learned from it. And so you just check one thing off the box every single time. And we underestimate the idea that like if we don't do something and we continue to not do it, we think about that whether we need to do it or not all the time. And that is
so true.
We do it all the time. So if you just think about it, have a check and balance in the sense of like, I thought about it. Okay. I thought about it like 1 or 2 more times. I'm actually going to do it. But if you continue to think about something, and you just don't do it, that's where regret comes in. That's where like you're wasting so much productivity in your brain space on the fact that you're contemplating doing something. And that changed my life and understanding that like 1 or 2 thoughts of it. Okay, we're gonna really make a decision whether I'm gonna do this or not.
That is amazing. That is so much truth because I think so many times people want to start doing something. Let's just say they have a massive passion for fitness or they have a massive passion for, I don't know, something totally random like Facebook ads or whatever, seriously random, but they want to start doing it and they want to perhaps make an Instagram fitness page or they want to start building their personal brand around this fact that they're obsessed with Facebook ads or whatever. They contemplate it, they're worried about what people are thinking, and they are literally the mental energy that this is taking, that they feel like they're holding back from something and they're not acting upon it. Look, if you're wanting to start, like, let's just say you're wanting to start an Instagram fitness page, but you wait 3 months before you start it. That is 3 months where not only could you have been gaining followers, but you could have been making friends. You could have been having opportunities come your way. You could have been attracting clients. All these different things that you've missed out on simply just because you didn't take action. And that is something that's so powerful. I think in life we have so many opportunities come our way, and just through doing nothing we lose so much.
Yeah, I mean, people say fail fast, but learn fast. So, I mean, it's guys, just take action. Like, if you were to write down like 3 to 5 things right now, thinking about, okay, what are these 3 to 5 things that I think about all the time that I actually need to do? And you do those, the peace of mind that you're going to have, and it's not as scary as you think. Once you do it, you're like, well, why didn't I? How many times have we done something and we're like, well, why didn't I just do that? Like, well, that wasn't scary at all. Like, there was nothing like, what's the worst that's going to happen in reality? So, so me and Lauren share this mindset. We are action takers, and we don't like to wait a long time to take action. If we believe something is going to be the best thing for us, we will do it, and we will learn whether that is the case or not.
Definitely.
And that's just repeated over time and over time and over time. So, Lauren, let's go to your childhood. Let's go back to...
I'm still pretty much a child.
You very much are. You very much are. How old are you, Lauren?
I'm 21 now, okay? I can finally drink alcohol in America. Not that I really ever drink, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. She's a little baby, but she's very smart, very smart. So where do you live now? Where were you born? Talk about your relationship with your family, your childhood. Did you play sports? All these different things. Where did fitness come into play, etc.?
Okay, so backtracking quite a long way. So first of all, I live in a place called Surrey, which is in England. There's a place called Surrey in America, Canada. Sorry. As well. But yeah, so that's in England. It's about 20 minutes away from London. So I've lived here my whole life. If you ever come to England, you'll fly into an airport called like Gatwick Airport, and I live kind of near there. But that's just a little fun fact. So yeah, I kind of grew up. I was never into fitness, you know. My schools that I did, I've always been in private school my whole life, and in private schools in England you do a lot of sport, and so I always was doing sport. But I am a massive foodie. When I say I'm a foodie, like, I could live off just sweet food. I don't need savory food in my life. I just need sweet. And so this kind of led me to getting a bit overweight, even though I was doing tons of sport. And another thing is, when you go to like a private school in England, you play a lot of kind of games against other schools, and after the games, all these private schools always have these like massive, they call it match teas, and match teas is like a massive foodie fest after the match. And I used to have matches seriously, I used to have matches every Wednesday and Saturday, and so, you know, you'd have like hot dogs, there'd be like bacon butties. I don't know if you have bacon butties over there, but it's
no,
like
what is that?
I think you would probably call it maybe a bacon bap.
I don't know what that is. What's a bap?
Oh, you don't have a bap in the States?
Uh-uh.
Oh my gosh, okay. Like a bacon burger, I suppose.
Okay, burger. There you go.
Yeah, kind of. Maybe. It's just quite an English thing, I guess. And yeah, just tons of food. So I ended up becoming overweight, and I was classed as overweight for my height. I remember you won't know that. I don't know how many pounds it was, but in stone it was like 10 stone 12. So 10 times 14 plus 12, whatever that is how many pounds I was. And so for my height, that was really overweight because I'm about 5'4". So long story short, what happened was I got a really bad relationship with food, stopped eating pretty much, and was doing tons of cardio, lost weight in a really, really fast way. But I got to this stage where I was so skinny, and I started suffering from panic attacks. And so this is why I'm really, really passionate about mental health, because having panic attacks is something that seriously really took my life away from me for a couple of years, because this was when I was around the age of 16, I'd say. I wasn't actually even able to last a whole day at school because I'd have to go home because I was having such bad panic attacks in class. And when you're 16, going on 17 in England, you have these exams, they're called GCSEs. and they're like super important, because it means like if you don't get, let's just say, an A in your maths, you wouldn't get into certain universities. And because I was always in a very, very pushy school, they were always pushing you to do really well. And so I just remember so vividly in my maths GCSE exam, it was my very first GCSE, and I must have been 16, I guess, and I had a panic attack in that GCSE exam.
Wow.
And I had to come out of the exam, and like this was, there's like hundreds of people sitting in this hall taking the exam, and I came out, and then I had to like go into isolation for ages because obviously everyone in the country is sitting the exam at the exact same time, so you're not allowed to go on your phone or anything, talk to anyone. So I had to like end up doing all of my exams when I was 16, 17 and 18 in a room all by myself. But that moment when I was in that exam, that really kind of was a pivotal point for me. It sounds so cliche, but it's so true. It just made me realize, God, I need to do something about this. So I just remember that. Huh?
Can I chime in real quick?
Yeah, of course.
So just to kind of reflect on that, like probably there was other people in that room that were feeling the exact same thing you were. And the thing is, you're seen as like this outcast for having this panic attack and not being able to control yourself. Some people were like, well, what's wrong with her? And that's what a lot of people are. I'm glad this is becoming a topic nowadays, because people are no longer seen as outcasts if you are struggling with mental health. We live in a world now that is not perfect. There's a lot of things that distort the way we see the world and the way we see each other. And we live in a world where we can compare ourselves to each other all the time, every single moment of every single day. And that mental health comes in. We have a panic attack with like not being good enough, or not getting somewhere fast enough, or obviously a lot of people have it when they take tests, like because there's that unknown. I believe that panic attacks are a root of them, or the unknown. It's the fact that you do not know what's going to happen. You do not know what's going to be on that test.
Well, the thing is for me, like I never had anxiety because of exams. Like I've always like, not to like be up my own ass. Is that even a saying? I don't know. Not to sound cocky or anything, but I was always like really good at exams, and like I knew I'd do well. I knew I'd get like all A's and stuff. But the issue wasn't the exam. The issue was like, as you were saying, like the unknown. But also the thing was, for me at that stage of my life, the reason why I was getting panic attacks, it would be like when I was feeling dizzy because I hadn't eaten enough food. And so that was why it was kind of a turning point for me, because I was feeling dizzy because I was obviously not eating enough food. And I was in the exam and I was like, oh God, I think I'm going to have a panic attack. And then I started having a panic attack because I thought I was going to have a panic attack. And literally that's when I realized, okay, I need to start getting healthy. And because this, it's obviously affecting me physically, but it's also affecting me mentally. And I'm just a very logical thinker, and I always have been. And so at that point, I just was like, right, I need to just snap out of this and just, do something about it, which obviously you can't always do with mental health issues. And I still get panic attacks to a degree nowadays, but it's much better controlled. And it's because I know that it's my mind kind of playing up on me, as it were. So, and it's also kind of quite reassuring to know that other people have the same thing, even though that sounds so evil, because like obviously you don't want other people to have the same issue as you. But I think it's just human nature, like when someone else has the same suffering from the same thing.
You're not alone. You're not weird. That's the biggest thing. Why do we follow certain people on social? Because we relate to them. We've been through similar things. Why do we have a tribe? Why do we have people because we all share these simple things. Why do we connect? We have a passion for helping people, and we love food. Like there's just different things that and it's true. But a lot of people, they just feel like they're alone. And so social has been an amazing thing in the sense of like people are no longer alone. You can find the people that are going through similar things as you. But it's also the worst thing in the sense of it's very easy to compare yourself with other people too.
It's so true.
Scary time, and mental health is one of those things. But I believe the moment when somebody recognizes with mental health that they are not alone, that there's similar people going through the same thing, but also that they are in control. So being prepared, like understanding like certain moments when you would. So if you were to go into that exam knowing that maybe I didn't eat enough, but that I know the feeling that's going to happen when I didn't eat enough. Okay, I'm going to be aware that I might feel uncomfortable and I might be in a position where I would overthink and become have a panic attack. My heart rate will go up. Da, da, da. But if you're aware of that, that's going to come, then I believe that you're in a little bit better position to not let it happen.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. I think like anxiety is a very, very complicated thing as well, because so many people have different kind of reasons for maybe why they're having panic attacks or why they're feeling anxious or whatever. But yeah, like it's something that's super complex. And like I try and speak about it as much as I can, because I've been there where I felt so alone. Like I actually did a podcast about it the other day with like an anxiety expert, because it was just like some simple tips and tricks that you can implement in order to help prevent anxiety. Because I don't know, I think like anxiety still isn't spoken about enough, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because what happens when you say that you don't have your mental health together? Well, anything else is seen that comes out of your mouth, like like when you just think about it that way, is not true. Because how are you supposed to believe somebody that's an expert on something when they can't even control their own anxiety? Like it's that, but it's so true. It's
Yeah.
like that's how we see it, and so like that's how most people see it, and that's why being vulnerable seems scary for an expert, because they're like, well, why would they believe me if I don't have it together, if I still struggle with these things? But in reality, vulnerability is what actually brings people closer, because then they're like, whoa, this person is like me. They speak like me. They're going through the same things as me. And thus, they're seen in a much higher light. And it's super, super, super interesting. So you went through what's it called? What's it called? It's not high school in
So at my school, it was just called senior school. Yeah.
senior school. Okay, so then you go to university, right? And then
Yeah.
you're still in school right now, aren't you?
I just dropped out.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Exclusive announcement.
Dang. Okay, so let's go deep into that. Okay.
Okay.
So why did you initially go to school? What were your goals? And then
Okay, so
why did you
long story.
recently want to drop out?
All right, so let's backtrack a little bit more. So after you do your senior school, like the GCSE exams that I was just talking about, you go to like, some people go, they call it college, or you just go to sixth form. So I went to sixth form because it was part of my school.
What is that?
So
What's that? What's sick form?
So I think it's the equivalent of like, well, it's when you're 17 and 18 years old. So I don't know what you call it there.
That would be like senior year of high school, and or we have prep school for like athletes, but that would be like senior year. 17 is like senior year of high school.
Okay, yeah, so it's like the final 2 years of high school, pretty much.
Okay.
So like most people go to like colleges, but then if you're in like a private school, it will be called sixth form, you know? So I went to a sixth form. And then, so I did that, blah, blah, blah. Like my school is like one of the type of school where about 30% of the year will go to Oxford or Cambridge. So like a really good, like an Ivy League, you know? Really smart people. School was super, super pushy. And so I always wanted to study politics and economics at university. So I got into the uni that I wanted to get into. So I was super happy about that, University of Bath. And then something that I wanted to do before I went to uni or college, whatever you want to call it, was I wanted to work in a placement at a company. So like I wanted to, because my whole life, well, not my whole life, but like a lot of my life, I've wanted to be a fund manager in like wealth management, you know? So I managed to get a job at a company called Jupiter Asset Management, which is like, you know how over there you have like the New York Stock Exchange, and then there's like the top companies in the New York Stock Exchange. Jupiter's one of them in England, like in the FTSE 100. It's like in the FTSE 250, which means that it's like one of the biggest companies out of the top 250, like in the UK. So that's stock traded, sorry. So anyway, yeah, so I ended up working there. I started in the September, and basically we got our bonuses in March, and I handed in my notice the day after I got my bonus. because I hated it. I was so
Yeah.
unhappy. Like, seriously,
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. This is the moment of my life where I realized that I am the type of person that needs to be self-employed. Like, genuinely, I realized, oh my gosh, I just have so much that I want to do in my life, and I feel confined to an office. I feel just like this job was like 7:30 in the morning until like sometimes it would even be 7:30 at night, sometimes even later. I was commuting for like 2.5 hours a day as well, and oh my gosh, it was just the worst thing. I can't even put it into words about how unhappy I was. Like, seriously, I was not myself. I just was not myself. Like, it was just horrendous. And so pretty much I quit. I then had a few months where I was loving life, just kind of like making YouTube videos and stuff. Then I went to university, but I'd actually changed my course. So I wasn't doing politics and economics anymore. I was studying business administration now. Still at the same uni, the University of Bath, but like that's like the #1 course in the UK for business. So it was awesome that I got on the course. I never thought I would be able to. So I was like really happy about that. It was just it was very unexpected. Anyway, I went to uni and everything just kind of with my personal brand was kicking off. So within my first year of university, I released like my very first workout program and like started just doing tons of different stuff and started realizing like how much I absolutely love creating content. But it's just because I can see the impact it's having on people's lives, and it gets me excited, like even talking about it. But pretty much what happened was I did my first year of university, and then I did for my course, because it was like a different kind of business course. What happened is the first 6 months of your second year of university is a placement. So I was working in another job in influencer marketing, and oh my gosh, let's just say I ended up quitting like 3 months in. And ever since then, everything has just escalated exponentially, and here we are today.
Good for you. I mean, it's being self-aware of the fact that like what really makes you thrive. And it's the fact that you can create whatever content you want, and you can create content no matter what. Like if you're in a fitness content agency, let's say that some people are part of an agency that provides us a ton of fitness content. But what if you want to start talking about mental health? You can't do that. That's why the power of like building your personal brand is you have nobody telling you what you can do. You, with your gut instinct, and you, because you engage with your audience the most, understand what your tribe needs.
Exactly.
Give them that. And that's the power of it. Is what you need to take from what Lauren just said was the fact that like she was always trying something. She, like, you noticed the thing, she was doing things. She was not scared to make a change, because she would learn from it and then become better from it. And that's another thing she can check off the box to get her closer to happiness. And along the way, she just had a learning mindset. She learned that she didn't want to be in economics. She learned she didn't want to be in wealth management. She learned that she wanted to, okay, well, let's get into this business school. But then she learns, I mean, it's just continually learning. And
it's true.
Yeah. And what teaches you more than anything is owning your own thing. Like, because you go into it knowing that you have to learn so much. You have to know everything. And I'm going through the process of like really building our team right now. But the thing is, with every position, I have to know it well enough to where if somebody gets hit by, like, this sounds terrible, but if somebody gets hit by a car, I have to be able to step in. Like that's how everybody needs to know their roles so well. So, but as a business owner, you're doing all these different things very early on. You're doing all of this stuff. And that sounds daunting, but it's fun. Like you're learning, you become immersed, you become obsessed with it. So that's what I'd take away from that, is just consistent action and not settling. There's no settling. Life should not suck, guys.
No.
It should not. It should be the most fun experience ever.
And you know what? That's like the main reason why I quit my job. Look, there are some people who are listening to this right now who have like 5 kids. They have a partner who relies on them. They have bills to pay. They have mortgage repayments. They have all this stuff that is relying on them. And look, at that period of your life, yes, maybe you're going to have to suck it up for a bit, and you're just going to have to get on with things.
Yeah, because it's not about you anymore. It's not about you. When you have a family and kids, like, it's not about you at all.
It's not about you.
Why That's why when we were able to do what we were doing. And so if you're younger, you do not have those constraints. But
Exactly. I had nothing. I had no bills to pay. I was still living, still living with my parents. Like everything, nothing was kind of like relying on me. So I had the opportunity to just take all these crazy leaps. But obviously you can't necessarily always do that. But if you are still young and you do still have the actual opportunity to do that, there's no reason why you should still be stuck in a job where you're unhappy. The reason why I stayed in my first asset management job for so long is because I was waiting for my bonus. But I'm not gonna lie, the bonus ended up being about like the equivalent of, I'd say, about $5,000 or $6,000. But genuinely, that $5,000 or $6,000 was not worth the amount of time I stayed in that job. Because at that period of my life, that seemed like a crazy, crazy, crazy amount of money. But look, it is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But it's not enough money for me to still be unhappy, if that makes any sense. And also, if you think about it this way, if you then create a life for yourself that you love, like that's so much more valuable, and you can make money while doing it.
That's the biggest thing, guys. Like the moment that your time becomes your most valuable resource is the moment that you start winning, because you could see, wow, I'm going to spend this extra time to get this $5,000 or $6,000 bonus. But if you have a high price tag on your time and how much you value it, then that's not worth it to you. And if you create a business of your own and a personal brand that is able to fund itself during those periods of time, then you're able to make up that difference. Like, and your goal should be to make more than that. So I don't want to talk too much about business, but I want to just truly understand that like things escalate over time. So why did you create your, like, let's kind of go back to like when you started your own personal brand, when that started, like, let's talk about that evolution right now. So like, when did you start?
Okay. Yeah. So I'd say like only in the past kind of maybe the past year, I've started kind of seeing it as a personal brand rather than just anything else really. So I actually started my very first Instagram fitness account, let's put it that way. So pretty much my personal brand, but I started it, I'd say when I was 16, and the reason why I started it was because I wanted to meet like-minded people. I used to see this community of fitness people all over Instagram, and I was like, why can I not be a part of this? And the main reason I made the account is because I wanted to comment on these posts, but I didn't want my friends to see that I was commenting on like if fitness people's posts, because I thought they would have taken the mick out of me and mocked me or whatever. So I used to I never did the plan, but that Kayla It's Science girl, BBG, whatever. I used to follow her, and I used to absolutely, some of the listeners will know who she is, but like she's some Australian like fitness chick. And I just was like obsessed with her body. And so I wanted to follow her and like follow the other people that followed her. But I never bought her plan or did her plan or anything. And so then I found kind of like people like Paige Hathaway, which is so funny because I actually met Paige Hathaway last week. I went to one of her events, and it's just so crazy looking back at it now, how like, the people that you followed when like 5 years ago, you're kind of hanging around them now. But that blows my mind, firstly. But yeah, so I started following all these people, and then pretty much I used to do recipes just like you, Zach. So I used to do recipes, and I gained a lot of followers pretty fast through doing these recipes. And then I must say it was probably around April 2016. I kind of was like, right, I'm gonna start making a few posts of my face or whatever. So like I started posting, I'd say one photo of myself a month or something. And then about, I can't remember exactly when it was, probably about like 18 months ago now, that's when I started posting a lot more personal content. And then I was like doing a bikini competition, and then I started like posting tons of photos of myself because the food was no longer very interesting anymore. But even this time last year, I'd say I was still posting quite a bit of food. And now it's pretty much all me because I'm selfish. No, I'm just kidding. But
It's amazing how that evolves. Like I can imagine the
know.
first time you posted a picture of yourself, it was probably the scariest thing ever. Like it was
so scary because I was always so insecure.
Yeah. And then
Yes.
you're like, well, people unfollow me because they just want food and all
And
this kind of
they
stuff.
did at first, and that was like really, really hard. But then I just kind of rode with it because I was like, oh, whatever, like this is where I want to take it. And it's because I started to see the fact that I don't want my page just to be food. I want to actually, develop my personal brand because I started learning all about personal branding. And I'm really obsessed with kind of marketing and all business type stuff. And I was hearing people talking about building and developing their personal brand and all this stuff. And it just made me kind of see the bigger picture and see how much of an impact it could have in my overall life. And so that's why ever since then, I've just got massively into it. And I've seen it not only as a way for me to kind of, not just as a way for me to like post stuff and meet people, but also as a way for me to add value to other people and to, just create something bigger, create like a community and all that.
Yeah. I mean, we are people, guys. Like, we are people. So
Yeah.
it's so true. We want to connect with people. And
Yeah.
so if you just see, that was something I went through as well. Like, my page was known as a food page.
Mm.
And it was
Yummy food.
scary as I like to think so.
Oh yeah.
Um, I I was scared to post anything about myself. And I remember the first time I met Amanda Bucci, I met Emily Hayden and all of them. This was 2016 Olympia. And that was my first fitness expo ever. And we were in a conversation, like I was with like-minded people. I'd never like necessarily met them before. And they introduced themselves to me, and they asked about me, and I told them my Instagram page. They're like, what? Like, I've been following you for so long. And they're like, you need to start posting more pictures of yourself.
Mm.
And I started doing that more, and then the brand continued to grow. And it was amazing what happened. Whenever I first did it, I was scared. It didn't get as much likes or anything
Mm.
like that, but the comments were so much more because
Yeah, yeah,
people
yeah,
could put
yeah,
a
yeah.
face to a brand, and they could actually see me and picture me actually making these foods now. And I see food pages now, and I'm like, cool, who are these people? Like, I want to know these people. And the moment I started doing that was I was able to build a true tribe that liked me as a person and wanted to know what I was going through, because I was getting
Mm.
DMs all the time asking me about, like, hey, like, what do you do this? Like, what do you do with it? What do you do for fun? What do you do this? All this kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, why don't I just start sharing that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it just further cemented, because it creates an emotional connection. You
Mm-hmm.
actually have an emotional connection with somebody, because we relate with people. We don't relate with food. Food's okay, but it's an extension of who we are as a person. And
Exactly.
that's it, guys. So, like, just think about where you want to go and what you want to do, and it's focused on, like, give the people what they want before you give them what they need. So that was what I
Mm-hmm.
wanted. It's like, you gain traction with what is going to gain traction, what you like to do and want to be the best at. And that was creating cool recipes and teaching flexible dieting. But you give them what they actually need, because maybe you do see the world differently. Maybe you do have an opinion on different things. Maybe you can connect with them on an emotional way and be able to be that leader for them that gets them to make change. Like, I never thought I would do a podcast talking about the journey and the mindset of becoming your best self and getting that success that you want. And that's not, I mean, that's what we're doing this podcast. And I never would have thought that it'd be doing super well, but it does, because that change was made, and I did something that was scary to me, but then it ended up being one of the best things I can do, because there is none of that like spite, like, oh, I can't talk about myself. Oh, I can't do this. It's like, if something feels right, you just post it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So much truth. So much truth. Like, because my username used to be Lauren Fitness as well. And so I then changed my username from Lauren Fitness to Lauren Tickner because, I don't want to just seclude myself just to fitness, because what I was talking about was much more than just fitness. And I think that when I made that switch, that's when everything changed for me, and I just felt so much more connected to my audience. I felt like I was just I opened so many doors up for
How
myself.
did you feel right when you made that change? Like, it had to have been like the biggest weight like off your shoulders. Like,
You're the person that actually inspired me to do it. Because
really? I met, but wasn't it when you interviewed me? Didn't we talk
yeah,
about it?
Yeah, we spoke about it because that came on my podcast, and then after we hung up the call, he was like, just do it," and so then I just did it the next day. I didn't do it that day because it was like a Sunday, so I did it the next day. I was being one of those people where I waited off until Monday, but I'm just so glad I did that because I wanted to. There was so much more that I wanted to open myself up to, and so yeah, like thanks for that.
Absolutely. I got your back. I got your back. That's cool. That's really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. And so ever since then, obviously, it's because I think it comes back to that whole thing of 1,000 true fans. They always say you don't need millions of followers, but if you have 1,000 true fans, not even 1,000, like 100 true fans, then you're sorted. And I think I was trying to please the fitness community, and I wanted everyone in the fitness community to follow me. And I thought, oh, if I change my name away from fitness, no one's going to want to follow me because I don't have fitness in my name. But it just isn't true. And I think that ever since then, the people that really engage with my content, that's business content and fitness content, have kind of begun to warm to me even more because they see that I'm not just fitness and I don't eat, breathe, live fitness the whole time. I'm just a regular person, who's getting on with my whole life as an entrepreneur, which is a bit different to a lot of people. Not everybody's an entrepreneur, but I think it's the fact that I struggle to get to the gym some days because I'm too busy and all this stuff, and I feel like when fitness was in my name, it implied so much more, that I was constantly going to the gym 5 times a day, just eating chicken and rice out of Tupperware, all that stuff, so yeah.
It's so true. So this comes to mind. It's think about what your dream day would look like. Everybody listening, literally think about what your dream day would look like. Now think about what all these factors would be that would go into helping that day becoming a reality. Then what you do with your personal brand is share your journey and what you're learning along the way, trying to make that happen. I believe that should be everybody's goal in life. Literally sit down with a pen and paper and write down what your dream day would look like. Then you go with, okay, what do I think is the best next step in order to make that happen? And I don't think anybody ever does that. I could ask anybody, what's your dream day look like? They're like, oh, I've never really thought about that. It's like, what? You got to think about that, because if you don't think about it, you don't have a vision of where you need to go.
Yeah, exactly. The way that I like to think about it is think of yourself 3 years from now. Let's just say 3 years from now. So you wake up, it's a Monday morning, you wake up, what are you doing? What's your situation like with your family? Where are you living? Where are you living? And I want you to put it in the present tense. So this is for me, I'll just do it for myself. I'm living in Los Angeles. I have a business built around my personal brand that's teaching people how to build their personal brand. I'm so healthy. I'm fueling my body with food that is delicious and really good for me. It's good for my cells and stuff. I'm going to the gym 5 or 6 days a week. I have freedom of time. I'm living with my boyfriend, all this type of stuff. I mean, you put it in the present tense and you imagine yourself years from now, because if you actually think about it that way, you start to create the path for yourself. And you know what, Zach, I think is super sad, is that a ton of people will listen to this podcast today and they won't take action on it. But you literally, if you just do this task with yourself, you can seriously make such a big change in your life. And another thing that I find so sad is that so many people who could just do this simple task now won't do it, and they'll just get stuck in that 9 to 5 that they hate every day. And when you said imagine your perfect day, I think so many people, they don't imagine themselves waking up and going to work. They imagine waking up and living a life that they love. And the crazy part about it is that in 2018 or 20, whatever the hell year you're listening to this in, you have the ability right now. The internet is the most incredible thing, and it opens up so much to you. You truly do have the ability to take your life into your own hands. As cliche as that sounds, it is so true.
I mean, I can't deny that. I'm a living example of that.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, we're both living this. My first business was a gym, and that was not internet based. It was in person in a small town, and it was doing super well. But I knew there was something bigger I wanted to do. And there was a way to reach more people. And so I went online and I sold my gym. Gym is still doing is super well, but that wasn't part of my dream day. It was becoming a job. And that was not what I wanted to do. And my goal now with building FDL is I never wanted to feel like a job. And just understanding like what truly makes me happy. And I think everybody could do this drill and understand, okay, where are you spending most of your money? Is it on things that actually do make you happy? Does that nice car really make you happy? Does a big house really make you happy? Do all of these things really make you happy? Does going out and partying, does that really make you happy? Like, think about it. Are you doing it because you're pressured into doing it? Or are you doing it because you really enjoy it? Like, all of these different things, just constantly challenge yourself. What would it look like if this was ideal? Like, what would it look like if this really did make me happy? And then when you do that vision of what your day would look like 3 years from now, you have a goal then. You have something.
What's your day 3 years from now, Zach?
I love to write. So I want to,
No. I am.
So, for example, I am waking up when my body wants to wake up, but that'll usually be around 6:15.
Yes, I was just about to ask you, what time do you wake up? I love how I've suddenly started interviewing you, but I just think it's just nature. Just because I feel like when you're working on the thing that you love, that you're so passionate about, like it gives you so much energy, and you just jump out of bed in the morning. Like, I used to literally be able to lie until like midday. Now I can barely even stay in bed till like after 6:30 in the morning, because it's making me excited now, because I want to be awake. I want to be working, because it doesn't feel like work. It just gives me, like, as I'm sat here working, I get energized because I just love it so much. And I feel like this is something that, if you would have said this to me 3 years ago, because what month is it? It's March. Yeah, we're just about approaching the anniversary of the day I quit my job. But if you had said this to me 3 years ago, I would have been like, you're an absolute raving lunatic. Like, you can never live a life like that. But it really is possible. So sorry, I totally interrupted you there, but I just had to get that out of my system.
No, that's perfectly fine. And so, like, I'll go into my dream day, but like, think about what she said 3 years from now. So you're not going to get there tomorrow. You're not going to get there a month from now, 6 months from now, but know that you're going to be a hell of a lot closer if you start now. Like, you just have to
this is crazy.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, this is crazy, because, I was like, imagine your day 3 years from now. Because it was 3 years ago when I was trying to imagine my dream day, and now I'm living that dream day. So it's mad. You can really make it happen.
You really can. But you just have to have that vision. You have to really get that mental picture, because then you have something to work towards. And that's like, think about your day. What would it look like if it was easy? Like, obviously our days are hard, but if we think about like, what would it look like if it were easy, then we can look, so I wake up at 6:15, I get out of bed, and I do mobility for about 15 minutes to prime my body for the day. And so then I go get my stuff ready, and I go to a local coffee shop, and I plan to write for about 3 hours. So I write for about 3 hours on whatever I need to write about that day. My goal is I want to write at least 1,000 words a day on whatever I'm working on. I enjoy storytelling. And so I get done there, and then I leave there, and I go for about an hour long, about 45 minutes to an hour long walk. And I am either handling some calls, or I'm listening to a podcast, consuming content, or I'm actually doing some business calls or anything like that. But I'm moving after sitting for about 3 or 4 hours. And so I do that for a little bit, and then I go and have lunch, and I'll have whatever I am craving that day, because that's what I'm good at, and I can make whatever I'm craving fit. So I have that, and then after lunch, we are filming content for about 3 to 4 hours, just talking about whatever. Like, content's fun, providing value, whatever I need to that day. So then I'll go train right after that, and then I'll have a little meal before then, then I'll come back that night and I'll be able to wind down and then have dinner and then wind down and not have too many things I need to work on.
Amazing.
I mean, you notice like I'm in control of my day. That's not saying I have to be here at this time. I choose to be there at this time because I have that freedom. Nobody is telling me I have to be anywhere at any time. So that's huge, guys. So like with this podcast today, like just understand that like, oh, this isn't like, oh, you can do the world, you can change the world, you can do all this. It's like, no, but you can. Like, you can do whatever you want on your scale, but you just need to understand that you just need to take action. And so like a few things that might be a way for you to take action more is maybe if you stop spending your money on things that don't really matter to you and start saving that money, that'll give you time to be able to get away from your job and then be able to spend more time on your personal brand or invest that in making yourself better. So like that's the thing, like, why do you need a nice car? Why do you need a nice house? Like, why do you work this job just so you can afford a nice car that drives you to your job and drives you back home to afford a house or an apartment that you only sleep in? Like,
word.
Like, think about that.
It's so true. I find it absolutely crazy, you know, like that's something when I first heard that, I was just mind blown. I was absolutely mind blown. And you know, like you were just saying that you are in control of your day. Because I bet that day that you're imagining 3 years from now is pretty similar to your current day, right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I like to think of it, instead of having a to-do list, having a can to-do list. You know, it's great because you have the opportunity to do all these things. And look, when you are truly in control of your time, you have the opportunity to do the things that you want to do. And look, this is all done, like Zach said, through investing your time and money in things that really, really matter. And something funny, Zach, is like when you said that about how do you spend your money, I genuinely, and the reason why this resonated so much is because I don't spend money. I spend money on vacations and like opportunities, and also investing in myself. So like mentorships and like courses and stuff like that, because that's the type of thing that I'm gonna see that money back 100 times
It's
over.
an investment, guys. Like think of you spend your money on stuff that gives you a more of a return on investment. So a car or anything that's a thing depreciates over time. It loses value. What you want to spend your money on are things that actually grow in value. So like having a mentor and having a mentorship or taking courses and things like that on things that you actually want to learn, investing in yourself. Working out is not a cost, it is an investment.
Yes.
And eating food and fueling your body is an investment. All of these things are investments. So think about where you're spending your money. Is it mostly costs that depreciate over time that do not provide value over the long haul, or are you investing your money? That is the biggest thing. And the more you invest rather than cost, the better you're going to be in the long run. So if you take anything from this podcast, that is it right there. Like if you just think of the X check thing that you see on Instagram, you got investment on the check, you got X on cost. And that's a damn good graphic I hope somebody makes, because there's a lot of things that are investments. There's a lot of things that are cost. And I believe that most people are spending money on costs.
Yeah, so. That's your economics degree coming back out right there.
It is.
I think so many times people, like, they'll see the price of like a course or kind of a mentorship program, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so expensive. But then they'll happily go and buy, like, it's in your hand right now, but they'll go pay like $5 for a Starbucks every single day. But like, I don't know, I could talk about this all day. Like, they'll
absolutely.
buy some
well, it depends on how you see the Starbucks. I see the Starbucks as an investment because it's a consistency with what I do, in the sense of my body feels it as a cue in order to be productive. So when I go and I get my Starbucks, my body recognizes what's around me and what I'm doing. So it's like, okay, this is a cue that, hey, shit's about to get done. Like, we're about to really do some good stuff. And so
Yeah,
that
that's
it's
because you have a
depending
good
on how you.
mindset with it. Yeah, exactly. But like a lot of people will go like buy some random stuff. I don't know. Let's just say it was shoes then, whatever. They'll spend their money on shoes, but they won't actually invest in themselves for the things that will get them return on investment in the long term. And I think like,
Absolutely.
and at the same time, you know, you are able to buy that Starbucks, and you wouldn't fear investing in a mentor or in a course because you see the value in that. Okay, so that's what I
Absolutely.
mean. Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, another thing is too, I don't want to buy nice things because I want to give and build my team and give them my money. Like,
exactly.
I get more happy. We just signed a bunch of big deals bringing people on. We just signed 2 12-year contracts with 2 people on our team. And
Sweet.
it's a large sum to where they are comfortable, they're happy, and there's incentives for them to grow even more and be able to. And both of them say, Zach, thank you so much for giving me my dream position.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Exactly.
that is like the best feeling in the world. Like, I could make millions of dollars and my quality of life will still stay the same. I don't buy
Mm-hmm.
things. Like, I don't need things. I want to invest in people. And
Yes.
that's exactly what I want everybody else to think of. So awesome. This has been awesome, Lauren. Thank you so much. I want to take a time
Thank
right now
you.
to say thank you, and I appreciate you. You've been nothing but an awesome person to see grow. Not only your brand, but as a person and the way you see the world and the the maturity you have at 21. You still have a playful nature to you, but the vision that you've set for yourself and how many young girls that you are going to inspire, it's going to be that you are right now but are continuing to. You're building your own path, which is cool. You're not scared
Yeah.
of doing it on your own. You're not scared of doing these things, and it's really, really cool, especially nowadays when there's a divide between the male and female side nowadays, and
Mm.
the women empowerment movement is definitely growing, and it's super cool to see you really, really leading a young generation of females to really make the world a better place. So I just want to say thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and thank you for all those kind words. Yeah, I think that's what it's all about, honestly. You know, you can take your life into your own hands. You can do crazy things that people would never think is going to be possible from you. And look, we are living in the age where it really is possible. It may seem far off, but if you just take small little steps every single day, you will get closer to being able to achieve your full potential. It's so true.
Absolutely, 100,000%. So we're into the last question before we wrap this up,
Oh
and I got to
gosh.
set the stage. It's an interesting one. So
Uh-oh.
today is Lauren's funeral. So
Oh.
yeah, I know, right? So today's your funeral. There are thousands upon thousands of people there mourning the loss, but more importantly, celebrating your life. And there's one person on stage about to give your eulogy, and you have no idea whether they just followed you on Instagram or you met them one time or you've known them your whole life. But they're on stage about to start telling your eulogy. Based on the life that Lauren lived, what would you want that person to say?
Oh, wow. I just honestly would love it if they would say that I've been able to inspire thousands and thousands of people to live a life that they love and to just take their life into their own hands and just be able to, you know, enjoy as much of their life as they possibly can. Because I think so many times people live a life that they're just mediocrely happy, and they don't think that it's possible to actually create the things that they want to create and to create the path that they want to live. But it is possible, and I'm just hoping that everything that
No, no. Lauren, can you hear me? Are you kidding me? Hold on.
oh, you're back.
I know. When did that happen? Can you chime in again and add that in?
So
Like, you said you wanted to inspire thousands of people, and then it stopped there.
oh no, and it stops at that
I
exact
know.
precise important critical moment.
I
um
know.
So if it was my funeral, I would just hope that the people who were on stage talking about my life were able to say that I've inspired thousands of people to live a life that they love, to be able to take their life into their own hands and to just not be stuck at this stage of kind of being mediocrely happy. I just hope that throughout my lifetime, I'm able to create a tribe of people who are motivated and driven to live their best life, to live a life that's providing value to other people, because it's all well and good creating your best life. Yes, that's so important to live a life that you love. But as a byproduct of that, if you can impact other people, that's what it's all about. And something that I'm also super passionate about, that in the future I'm going to be doing a lot of work towards, is kind of epilepsy research, because my brother has epilepsy. So I'd just like to hope that one day a massive ambition of mine is to actually own a charity for epilepsy, in order to help get the best research for epilepsy and all that stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to do some work on that.
I have no doubt whatsoever, guys. So the common theme is you are in control. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. You are in control. You notice how she doesn't want to support an epilepsy charity. She wants to create her own.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing, guys. We are in control. If you do anything, go out and help one person today.
Yeah.
And then help another person. And then help another person. Because what that does is the more people you help, the more value you're actually providing. Thus, you're going to get ideas on how you can provide more value. And that is the biggest way to provide. That is the biggest way to build your own personal brand, and being able to build something that is yours truly, is by going out and helping others, because they will give you feedback and you will continue to be better at helping others, because that's what it's all about. If people selfishly follow me and Lauren because we do provide value, we solve a problem for them. And if we didn't provide value, nobody would follow us. So that is the biggest thing. Just go help somebody today, and just do that over and over and over again. And I promise there's going to be something rhyming there. The way you help somebody is the way you can help so many other people in this world. So thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate you for coming on today. Thank you guys for listening. This is another amazing episode with another amazing individual. And this isn't a blueprint. This is a mindset. This is knowing that you can do this. It's not going to be perfect. We can't give you all the answers, but know that it is a learning experience, and it starts with helping one person today. So thank you so much for listening. God bless, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you, Lauren.
See ya.